I got it already. Before, I'm going to do some work. Just for the record, Mr. David Abundis has arrived. Before I pass it over back to you, Mr. Abundis, early this morning I apologize to the entire staff, to everybody here, and especially to the staff that left. But I apologize that I failed to mention that we lost one of our own today. One of our teacher's aides, Miss Margaret Garcia, went to a better place this morning, approximately 10 a.m. So I'd like to take a moment of silence, please, if you join me for just for a minute. Thank you. And again, Mr. Abundis is here, so I'll hand the meeting back over to you, sir. We're just finished citizens to be heard.
Thank you, Mr. Oreste. Just real quick, I'm going to take this opportunity. Oh, there's not too many community left, but where I was at, actually, I was at the Institute of Texas Culture. Our neighboring elementary, Columbia Heights, has a display, has art display for their students, and actually it's a double display. They're displaying Cesar Chavez art, and then they're also displaying MLK art. So, and it's going to run through. I just found out tonight it's going to run through June. And the cool thing is with a Cesar Chavez, actually have its own little section where it displays all the art in a real professional manner. So, I'll welcome everybody to that art display out there. All right, moving on to, and the reason I had to be there, my baby's girl art was there. So, the wife threatened me, so I had to be there. Moving on to 4A, here presentation for proposed land development of Heartland ISD property. Mr. Madrigal.
Yes, Mr. Chair. We have a few gentlemen that, as I mentioned, had approached me about some interest in wanting to purchase the 100 acres that Heartland ISD owns right inside of 410 between Roosevelt and Morrison Road. And again, I did have the opportunity to bring it to our board president's attention, and of course in his conversation with the rest of the colleagues, he asked for you guys to be here this evening. So I'll turn it over to you, gentlemen. Thank you.
This thing
Right there, we got it.
Okay, it's on. Thanks for giving me this opportunity of addressing you, Mr. Superintendent, trustees, staff. My name is Jack Walker, and I've now got a frog in my throat, for which I apologize. Despite the accent, I am an American citizen. I've lived here for 36 years, and I've also had the pleasure of working in Texas for the last 25 years, most of it in San Antonio, as a developer of shopping centers and land development. I have an international background in real estate development. I'm a strange mixture because I'm also a preservationist. I'm a great believer in making sure that certain historical buildings stay as they are. But at the same time, if we don't renew our housing stock and if we don't bring modernity to our infrastructure, we finish up with serious problems. So I'm the managing partner of Walker Enterprises, which is a family company. We've been active, as I've said here before. We have built up a good professional team, and in that regard, I mentioned Mr. Ed Bustamentes with KFW Engineering, and also consultant Mr. Rodriguez, whom some of you must know, who's been helping me prepare for this presentation. So I'm not sure that you actually have 100 acres, but it's very close to that. And on our estimate, we can see the construction of 450 to 500 single-family homes over the period of the next 5 or 6 years. That's in addition, and all of that, of course, is going to be in the Harlingen School District unless you move the land. So it's going to be to the benefit of the school district and the taxpayers. My company owns an additional 100 acres which surrounds yours. And because of that, it gives us the opportunity to master plan this 200 acres. Now, you could just go to a house builder and say, okay, here's 20 acres, build us houses. They can't do for you what I submit we can do for you, because we can provide the cross-access. 15 years ago, I was shown the land here on Roosevelt. I was shown 32 acres, Benny's salvage yard, and I took a deep breath and said, notwithstanding the environmental aspects, we can buy this and we can gradually develop into this area, because I've always believed that the South Side has a great deal of potential that is presently unrealized. And one of my jobs as a developer is to come in and realize that potential. There's a lot going on, some of which I can speak about and some of which I can't. The things I can speak about are, we've sold 25 acres to KB Homes, and as some of you may know, they developed Esperanza on 410, a very nice quality development, and I have their assurance that they will build a similar style of development on this land fronting Roosevelt. We also, and this is a very recent development, have been approached and are agreeing a contract, thank you, and are agreeing a contract with another developer who will create a shopping center in the lower part of Roosevelt and 410.
Sir, you may allow me right now at this time just to kind of help give our board an idea, and if you can help me while you're up there. Just real quick, can you point the 410, the highway, 410 for us? That's 410. 410, that's Roosevelt. Can you also point to them where our current operation stands for in Tejeda? Okay, and then the light green is the 100 acres, or approximately 100 acres that we own, and then the yellow tone there, that's property, that's real estate. That other lime green, go to that one. That's a current property that's been sold by this developer to another developer that's going to build another 124 units right now.
This is under contract right now to close in June in KB. And KB is committed to us that they will do the same type of product into this development here, calling it Esperanza North, that they did here on 410.
Oh, okay, so that's not as bad.
And thank you for allowing me to do that, because this gives them, they're familiar with the area, and it'll give them an idea. Now, again, the reason for being here is this particular individual, these developers are interested in the 100 acres that we own next to the new KB purchase, which is right there, because there's an interest by these individuals to build another 450 to 500 units in our 100 acres of ours. But of course, I think that, I hope that kind of explains a little bit better as they're talking and looking at it.
Mr. Chair, okay, so the land that we're looking at,
Possibly selling
okay, is exactly, show me where?
that area right there.
That big square right there.
The color is the same because we use it the same. What's the dark green? All the single family.
And what are the dark green boxes? What do they represent, sir? They have white lettering in them.
There's a number of different things. In these green, man,
Yep.
in these green spaces, what we want to do is we want to do some community amenities. This is a pocket park of preserving some green open spaces as well throughout the development. And I think one of the main things that we talked about with Superintendent Montegaza is that if we wanted to create a walkable neighborhood, where people who live here can actually walk to grocery shop, they can walk to dining, they can walk to service retailers and the like, really create a walkable neighborhood. But more importantly, we want to connect this neighborhood with this development. Today, if you live west of this, you really have to come down to come down to 410 and have to circle all the way around. We want to tie these neighbors into the benefits of this overall development and access on the Roosevelt and the various development tracks along the way.
Right, because from what I'm looking at right now, there's not anything, or a street that comes out to Roosevelt from there, correct?
And
It would have to go through there, or that's the smallest, or the,
What we're trying to do is link in the neighborhood here, come across the land, drop it south, and so it would come down to support that here. But more importantly, as a developer and benefit of the neighborhood, they will be able to come across here, which gets to Roosevelt, where they can turn obviously left or right, come down to the freeway and then go east or west, which is definitely something that's lacking at the moment. It's a nice focus for some of this. Because I had been for 12, 13 years, and I'm sorry, I should go back to my.
oh, you're fine.
So I had the dream, I had the concept. It's taken a long time to bring it to fruition, but we're finally almost there. Now, buying the land from Harlandale makes sense in creating a comprehensive plan. Without it, there isn't access to Roosevelt for anybody. With it, there is. And accessing the shopping center that we're going to build or is going to be built, I'm not building it, people will be able to walk. They'll be able to walk to school, they'll be able to walk to the restaurants, they're going to walk to the ice cream parlor, to the kids' entertainment, etc. And that's, to my mind as a developer, and I've done this all over the world, it's a good thing. And so I think that's the opportunity that presents itself. These are going to be single-family homes, high quality, certainly affordable in the context of San Antonio as a whole, because the land is less than 25% of what a home builder has to pay for in northwest San Antonio. And that is what enables KB Homes, Horton, and others to build and sell at a price under $200,000 and get a brand new home with appropriate infrastructure.
Can I ask you another question, sir?
Please.
Okay, so the builder on these homes is going to be KB, is that correct?
Builder on here,
Is currently KB on those homes?
I'm imagining that they will want to take part of this. But my plan is if we can negotiate a contract to purchase 3,000 of the land each year, writing up on the school district, that will enable me to sell to several different homes. That brings variety into a development. Nobody wants to see 450 homes.
Correct. What about, let me ask a quick question. Have you considered maybe a little bit larger homes as well? Something maybe similar to Mission del Lago down the road, which is more like to about 2,800. It's there. I think they're like about 17 to about 26, 20.
They still had a long way to go.
Yeah. And the only reason I say that because me and Mr. Madrigal, we had a meeting with all the superintendents of the Bexar County and the board presidents, and we met with the mayor, Ivy Taylor, and guess what? She wants development in the south side, and they're willing to work with school districts and partnership with guys like you guys to make homes that are going to draw people to the south, because definitely they're going to the north too large, and when it comes to roads and all that. So the message she basically told, and it was more for the southern school districts, let's improve on promoting our school districts. And we kind of defended our school district then, but she wants more development towards the south. And we said, well, we need grants from you guys. When people like, individuals like you guys come and present stuff like that to work with you, to maybe help you with the infrastructure so that we can build those little bit larger homes.
Well, we're certainly open to that. It's not my position to be able to speak to any of the house builders until I have some understanding of the subject. And that's
Okay, Mr. Madrigal and Mr. Oreste. Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Madrigal.
so, real quick, I had on, as Ms. Cáceres asked, on the dark green parts, the one on the top right, what is that? I'm sorry? Detention? Oh, detention pond. Oh, okay. And then the access to the left going into Kingsborough Ridge right there, what street is that? Malley, okay. That's the one that has the dead-end street going into it, right? Right, okay, right. And there's not a way to make an access out to the north or to the northern part of Roosevelt? On the top right? Yes, sir.
we run into problems with Texas. We're not free agents as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, because 281 is a highway, a Texas highway, that's why.
Right now, for example, they're only allowing one access onto Roosevelt. They have done, we went here, working with them to try and change that.
That's all I have.
So that we can have several curb cuts. But
That was my question,
it's a
yeah.
major road.
All right, Mr. Madrigal, you had a comment?
I just wanted to kind of go back and kind of share a couple of, some of the things that we did share in our meeting with, of course, with our board president, myself and area Bexar County superintendents, and of course the interest was on the development of the south side. And I know the mayor did leave that meeting with the idea, and we had a chance to defend our concerns and share some things that really she put ear to, was the idea that we do have a number of alumnus that do want to move into the Harndale area, but sometimes they're looking homes in the above $200,000 market value. So our conversation was to her was that if you would help with the impact fees, so some of the utility structure fees, some of the fees, and she was willing to do that because the overall goal of our city council at the present time and our mayor is to create school districts that again vary in socioeconomic status, and sometimes being able to have the housing to bring people to be able to afford to buy, to which want to move into a neighborhood that can $250,000 homes, then it's a win-win situation for the mayor's vision in education, and then our expectations too with developing a tax base along with ADA. So again, those are our wishes. That's what we're going to strive for. I'm going to strive as superintendent to get the, she's kind of made some not actually formal but informal promises that, again, to kind of help with the infrastructure on Roosevelt, things like that. They have a high level of interest too because the World Heritage Sites now are missions that are neighbor our school district, that are part in some of them are in our school district, also are off of Roosevelt Highway or Roosevelt Avenue, which is known as a state highway. But again, there's a lot of potential from when we left that meeting. We felt good about it. But again, just wanted to add to that.
Please.
I think that we're not talking about taking it all down, building all 400 units immediately. But I think as you look at a 4 or 5 year plan, the market's going to change. Because today, we know that we can build a product that's like the Escalante product. But as the area develops and you get more and more services, it's going to increase the value of that land. And then subsequently, you're going to be able to build a larger product. But that will be the evolution of the market. And superintendent, I agree 100%. There's also the evolution of Stinson, Brook City Base, all of that, certainly A&M Center.
Toyota, A&M San Antonio, our State College High School.
Okay. All right, Mr. Quesada, you had a comment?
Yeah, please, a quick question for Mr. Madrigal. Given this great idea, and improvement's always great, right? But I'm wondering if the district itself is planning for the expansion of the population, whether or not we're reserving any land for maybe an elementary school or for a middle school, and if now is the time to start thinking about that.
Mr. Chair, that is, Mr. Abundis and I have had that conversation. Want to take it one step at a time. Up there in the top, as we look at it, as this table looks at it, left-hand corner, that other gray area right here, a little bit right there, a little down, that's Shea, that right there is Shea Elementary. Down here in the bottom, Kingsborough is right around that area too, nearby, right on the other side of the corner there. But one of the things that did come up is we expand because that's elementary there is our largest elementary at the time. But unfortunately here about, Mr. Bunis can remember because he was a young board member at the time, but we closed down our 14th elementary, which was, that we closed down, which was Shea Elementary. That's Schultz, I'm sorry, but Shea Elementary we closed down, and the idea has come back up that we may have to open that elementary back up. That would help us meet the needs of that growth. Kingsborough has room for growth, and it still has one of our smallest middle schools. McCullum has room for growth. It's one of our smallest, our two sister high schools, the smallest. Of course, we have our Stem Early College High School, and we have some other options, but that has been brought to his attention.
I have a question.
Ms. Cáceres?
Okay, I have a question. On your map, where you're saying that Esperanza North is, that's currently not built up right now, correct? That's just a future, like, development, but it's already been started?
It starts this summer.
Is that owned by Harlando?
No, this is all, they own the contract to KB Plus.
Okay. That's,
This was ready to sell to John 15 years ago.
oh, I see.
Now it's a site that should go on. The city council, you don't need to be involved in this, but this is a disgusting boat yard. There's disgraces to this.
Well,
Should have seen it 15 years ago.
I have another question now. So where I see Tejeda down there by 410, and the orange square right next to it, right over to the right, to my right, there, right there, sir? That's an empty piece of land, isn't it?
They own that. He owns that.
Okay.
And that's one of the reasons why if we negotiate market price contract, we're not looking for bargains, we're looking, we will do an appraisal, and we will discuss it, and you'll return it, and your engineers. And that is why we can provide cross-access and the north-south access. What gives me the privilege of coming here and saying to you, I really think it's you better.
Can you currently show them the one that you just recently developed that comes out on 410 and Roosevelt?
Yes, I mean, we sold this parcel to Valero, a service station. We built this median 15,000 square foot
Shopping center.
subway, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the busiest time is 2 o'clock in the morning when the shift changes. At Central we recently recognized in conversation with our engineers that the traffic during peak periods was backing up from the stoplight 2 or 3 changes. And so in order to alleviate that, but also to bring traffic down to our shopping center, we have built a road across here that comes down. So if traffic wants to turn right onto the front of the road, it doesn't have to come all the way down to Roosevelt and turn. It should come across, down, down.
Okay, I have another question, sir. So you own that orange piece right there between Tejeda and that shopping center, correct? Right there, where you're,
We have all of this.
all of that. But that square right there that I'm referring to, but that, yes, sir, that one right there? That one's currently not developed. What do you plan on doing with that? I'm just curious.
I think this will be potentially more single-family homes, but also some market rent-driven multifamily. Because multifamily, again, is attractive to the opportunity to be able to walk to shops, to be able to walk to parks.
When you say multifamily, you mean apartments? Correct, okay. I just want to make sure that everybody understands too, because you're talking, developer lingo, and I just want to make sure everybody understands. Okay, thank you.
All right, before Mr. Mancha, any questions for these guys?
I kind of had a big conversation with them there, so they kind of asked a lot of my questions. The only thing is there going to be a bus route to Camp Jim's? I'm off of Roosevelt. I'm just joking, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Moreno, any questions for these guys?
No, I'm good at the moment. Thank you.
I just want to come back to one point regarding houses and their variety. It's essentially a market-driven situation. But I back up what Mr. Rodriguez said, which is that as we improve this whole area, we are going to attract people who can afford more expensive homes. Maybe they want larger homes, more than 3 bedrooms. And I think by having different home builders come in, they will assess what the market is. And while they may not build 200 homes, they could build 50 homes of that variety and be dotted around the area. So,
One thing that we should mention, people on multifamily, we met with Dr. Madsen at A&M. One of the first thoughts was, tell me about where we can get student living. I think some of our students live within a short drive. Is that part of the plan? We don't know for sure what the plan is today. As Jack said, it's really market-driven and trying to cover all of it.
Well, and I know for a fact that there's apartments on the other side of Poteet Highway 16 off of 410 in that area, right, that are actually going up right now. And there's also a lot of land in that area off of 410 in that area. But, I mean, that's something that,
I think the advantage we bring is the ability to create a master plan that will have shopping, bike paths, tranquil at night, busy during the day. That's what people want. I mean, I'm here to spend my money by buying your land, and I'm only going to do that, A, if the price is right, and B, if it can be a win-win for everybody. Because the flip side of what I'm saying is people buy homes where it's convenient to go to school. And, I remember I was born in London. I took an hour bus ride to get to school in the morning and another hour to get home again. I would have loved to walk to school, but wasn't possible. So in wrapping up, I'm happy to answer any other questions, and if any follow-up questions, I'm sure Superintendent Madrigal will follow up on that. We're asking for the privilege of negotiating a contract with you to acquire this land over a period of time, and it can be a win-win for
I think what we're going to do now today was just kind of to get the information from you guys. I guess I'm asking the board members to go home, kind of soak it in, talk to your community, and then at the next board meeting, bring it back again, and then at that time, we can possibly take action on how we might want to move forward.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you for the courtesy.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Moving on to item 4B, here presentation on the Region 20 TEEX resource system, Mr. Madrigal or Dr. Harrell.
Yes, Mr. Chair, at this time, I'm going to go and let Dr. Harrell present our guest and give us our presentation from Region 20 on the TEEX resource system. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President, Mr. Madrigal, Board of Trustees and Cabinet, and Harlandale family and friends. Before I introduce our guest tonight from Region 20, I did want to give a little bit of background on this. Every month, Curriculum and Instruction attends curriculum forum meetings hosted by Region 20. At several of the curriculum forum and the Bexar County Instructional Officers meeting, we've heard presentations about the TEEX resource system, formerly called the Texas Curriculum Management Program. And so we met, we explored it, we played around with it, they gave us some logins. We see some extreme benefit to curriculum planning, curriculum development, lesson design and delivery at our campuses, and a wonderful overall tool for our teachers. And so curriculum actually was going to, for the next 3 months, start working with it so we could plan this summer for our workshops to begin not only this summer, but in August as well. And so part of this was to have you look at a price for curriculum to use it for 3 months, a prorated cost. And then later on, when Mr. Hernandez does the budget sessions with you, present a package for next year for the 16-17 school year for our campuses and curriculum as well to use. So what better experts tonight to present this to you than Jana Poth. She's the component director from Region 20, and Ms. Cindy Zaragoza, who's a coordinator as well in the Instructional Support Division of Region 20. Jana and Cindy.
We're going to tag team this presentation for y'all, and being a former assistant superintendent, we'll try and keep it as brief, but yet answer all the questions that you have to be able to make an informed decision later on. Of course, we're available as your service center here to be able to answer and provide any support as necessary as you consider this. And hopefully, if you choose to go forward with this, we also have Nancy Seidensticker, who was unable to be here, who's a project manager, and she would be working hand in hand with your district. We're also increasing by 1 additional staff member to provide additional support for TCMPC district users. And that's an option that we take on in addition to the support that's already provided within the system. So know that on our first slide that you have, you'll have our emails, and you can certainly reach us at any time. But as we begin our presentation, you may want to be able to talk about, well, who is TCMPC? Well, TCMPC is actually the Texas Curriculum Management Program Cooperative. And you may be saying, well, is this formerly what used to be known as CSCOPE? Well, yeah, but this is the new and improved version. So this is an online dynamic system that's user-friendly for your teachers, and it's meant to be electronic and dynamic in the fact that your teachers access the system as a daily basis, and it's not to be printed out, causing additional cost to your district. So it's an online tool system. Can it be printed out for those who want it? Well, of course, it can. But when you look at it, it's a shared service. So all 20 ESCs participate in this cooperative. It also has a governing body that is made up of 10 superintendents as well as 10 executive directors of the Region Service Center. So know the voice of the school district, such as you, Mr. Madrigal, is represented on the governing board of the actual cooperative. In addition to that, we have a state team that develops the actual curriculum that's housed inside this system. We have 12 educators that are experts in curriculum writing, and we have 5 technical support staff that work with that. You may be thinking, well, how many districts does TCMPC serve? We serve 800 districts in the state of Texas, which is usually somewhere around 1.6 million students. You may also be thinking, well, how does 12 do it all by themselves? But we have a partnership with cadres of individuals within the educators, the ESC system, that also work with them that you'll see in the next slide. But also remember that when you choose, and we hope you choose to bring TCMPC on, that your voice is represented daily. There's a place inside the system to where that your teachers can respond and provide feedback, which would be answered by the actual staff that works at TCMPC, the Text Resource System. Going forward, looking at the Text Resource System, it is a comprehensive online curriculum and assessment management system, and it's developed by Texas educators for Texas educators. So it's not somebody outside the state developing a program that's going to be utilized inside for our standards. It's actually written by Texas educators that know the standards that are set out by the Texas Education Agency. You also probably want to know specificity. It is K through 12, all 4 core content areas. It also has bilingual components that are, help me? Trans-adapted. And that's K through 5. That was of great interest of your leadership team that works with curriculum, is to be able to have the curriculum that's going to be able to help them with your students that would need that service. It's aligned to the Texas Knowledge and Skills. they're in close collaboration with TEA in that. We also have, again, user-end feedback. So you know that it's going to be close responsive changes to TEA. So anytime there's a change, the system's going to be updated. And then again, like I said earlier, your teachers can provide feedback if they have a question about the content, they don't agree about the content, they can certainly submit that onto the online system, and every one that's submitted receives a response. And again, it's research-based current practices. And the last one is what I talked about earlier, is that we do work with classroom teachers, curriculum experts, ESC specialists. We have specialists in our core content area that work with the state team as they're writing the curriculum and vetting the curriculum. And so they're constantly in development, review, and revision so that you have the most current, up-to-date version of the curriculum system.
This is a sample of when you log into the TEKS resource system, and there are several things on the homepage for teachers and district personnel to access. So you'll have the first column, which talks about support, and it has instructional guides, frequently asked questions, some videos for staff to use as needed. In the middle section is a column for updates. So any updates that are made to the system, as Jana said, it's a dynamic system, and so they update those updates daily. Any changes that were made to any unit, to any resource, to any assessment item, teachers can go there to check to see if they have the latest information necessary. And then, of course, just news on the right-hand column, which gives you just information about content updates, annual conferences, and general information.
One other thing that I want to add to that is that there's a parent component. If you notice on the parent resources, your parents at any point in time, if you so choose to opt into this resource, then your parents will be able to access a login to where that they can actually see what curriculum is being taught in their actual classroom with their teacher at the time. So there's an access for your parents to be able to be learning more about what's being instructed inside your classroom as well. So that's been something that was requested so that there's complete transparency.
Mr. Chair.
But not the assessments.
Ms. Cáceres has a question.
But not the
So not the assessment?
No, the assessments would not be able to be viewed by the parent, because then, of course, that could compromise the actual
Where is that on the
assessment.
page? Is it on this
You wouldn't
homepage?
see it on this page. You would see it on a login page, which we can certainly show you.
Oh, okay.
But it's on a login page that they would have access. So anytime where your teachers go to log in the top right-hand corner is going to be a login for the parents.
Awesome, thank you.
So the premise of the resource system is this backward design in 9. And so everything in the system, of course, it starts with the state standards and goes through with that assessment, that STAR assessment as the end result. So it's taking you through resources and that were specifically developed to take teachers through that instructional design process. It bundles units and it takes them through designing instruction to build on with student knowledge towards that end of the unit assessment. So the written curriculum is the piece that's we have from the state, and of course our tested curriculum is our state assessment. So this middle piece is really this taught curriculum is where this TEKS resource system comes into play. It is the curriculum instruction resource selection for the district. So it allows teachers to be in control of how to teach that rigorous instruction.
So with any system or any program that you choose to be able to implement in your district, fidelity is important. How you implement it, how you roll it out, those are all key factors. And I can already tell here in Harlandale, y'all have a lot of fabulous things happening. So what this program does is enhance and be able to lead towards your PLC conversations that I'm sure are already occurring within your district at your campus level. So it's a tool that it's going to be, the goal is to positively affect the instruction and assessment through systemically aligned designed written, taught, and assessed curriculum. So for those that are in curriculum, it's the aligned triangle. And so that's really the goal set of this program, is being able to bring together what we are saying is written, what we're teaching in our classroom, and what we say we're going to assess. So those pieces are taken out. What's not taken out is the craft of the how. So the what is given to you, so you're not spending your expert time of your management of your instructional teachers or your curriculum to be able to write the curriculum. They're able to access in and have conversations about the how. And you're not taking the craft away from your teachers that you can see that are already doing a great job inside your district. You may be asking the different members that participate with TCMPC, the Text Resource System in Region 20. So we went ahead and created a list. There's 53 LEAs that are comprised of districts and charter school. We have Bexar County school districts as well as a lot of rural school districts.
That slide is not in there.
Oh, and that slide's not in your packet. I'm so sorry. So if you're looking for this slide, this is an addition. Is it? Oh, okay, great. Well, all the better. Thank you. Going forward, when I was thinking about information that you might want to be thinking about, because like I said, y'all are already doing a very solid job here in Harlandale ISD. I went ahead and, with the help of my team, we looked at data. And so we had 20 districts that we were looking at in the state of Texas that we consider to be large districts. If Harlandale so chooses to come on board with TCMPC, we would consider you a large district. So we started looking at the 20 districts and what those trend star scores are within 3rd grade, 5th grade, and 8th grade reading. So if you notice, in the top row underneath what's labeled, you can see 3rd grade reading. The 77 above there is the state score. For 5th grade, 87 is the state score. For reading, 88 is the state score. Underneath there, and the following row is your scores. If you notice, you start off with a 63, but you quickly progress in 5th and 8th grade into the 2 SSI grades to 82 and 81. Excellent job. And going forward, we looked at other school districts that have similar, not exact, similar demographics to y'all that have been in the implementation of TCMPC since the conception. So looking at Socorro and McAllen ISD, they actually started off with 78%, which is 1% above the state average. And then for 5th and 8th grade, they excelled to the 92 and 87 in 8th grade. So it's close. So what I wanted to point out there is that you can enhance what you're already doing by using a viable curriculum and shifting the conversations to the instructional pieces inside your classroom. So there is a use for it. And then Judson ISD, I wanted to be able to look at someone who was comparable that had been using it, that's considered a large school, and that's their scores as well.
Okay, so on this slide shows you the different components that are part of the TEKS resource system. And in your folder that we provided you, there's more explicit definition of what each of them are. We don't have time to go in through each of them, but I will share with you, of course, you have your TEKS that are in there. Then you have your vertical alignment document, your TEKS clarification document, and your enhanced TEKS clarification document that's specific to mathematics. That document was created because of the new math TEKS. And so those 3 documents together provide specificity around the TEKS that help teachers understand their content in such a way that they can deliver it better to their students. The Year at a Glance bundles units of study together. It puts student expectations that make sense to teach together and bundles them into units of study in 6 weeks or 9 weeks units of study. You have a TEKS verification document that allows you, it explains to you whether a certain standard is explicitly taught in 6 weeks or 9 weeks, or if it's ongoing, so that you can make sure that every student expectation is taught throughout the year. And then you have an instructional focus document that provides teachers with misconceptions, big ideas of the unit, academic vocabulary, specificity of the TEKS, and different things in that document as well. And then on the assessment side, you have performance assessments along the way in the units of study that you can check to make sure that students are understanding the content as you move through the end. The final unit assessment item pieces that can be given to students at the end of the unit. And then different resources and tools are built in depending on the content. There's different resources that are available per content.
And that concludes
And that was
it.
very quick, but you have a more, and we'll be happy, if you want to answer it further if you'd like. But I know we're over our time, so.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Mancha?
you said that there's a component there for the parents to be able to get in there. How about the bilingual parents?
Yes.
It
And
is
we can-
accessible in bilingual?
K
Yes,
through 5.
it's, the information is available, it's trans-adapted, and so like the IFD that they're able to view for the unit of study is a trans-adapted piece for the parents.
Can you explain to me what transit?
Translated, the difference between translated and trans-adapted is, is one language does not exactly translate language-wise from English to Spanish, and so the trans-adapted is it gets the meaning across, but it may not be a word-for-word translation from English to Spanish because it doesn't make sense to do it that way.
Okay.
Mr. Moreno?
Yes, and I know we were discussing some of this stuff earlier, but I think one thing that myself and Mr. Bundes were discussing too is the implementation. I know there's information in here for us, but I wanted to know if you could kind of clarify that, because I know you were kind of alluding to it when it came to either our curriculum team or our facilitators or actual coaches on how they would actually be implementing this program. If you can kind of clarify that for my colleagues and myself, please.
Again, it's always going to be LEA preference, but as the Service Center, we can recommend ways that we've seen it effectively rolled out for implementation, but it's always going to be an LEA decision on how you decide to roll that out. We provide as a service to districts that are new to the system, additional days to where we come out and we actually lead coaching conversations with the district choice. So if y'all were to choose for us to lead those conversations with your curriculum leadership team, so then they could turn around and have those conversations with principals, or if you wanted us to train the principals on the system and what we suggest as being the rollout or as decided by the LEA,